Hello, my name's Suzanne and I garden and grow cut flowers in Devon in the UK. The nights are finally drawing out and it's time for me to try and rein in my over enthusiasm at the prospect of sowing my seed for my 2025 cut flower growing season. It is so tempting to get just a little bit carried away sowing a vast amount of different hardy annuals or cool flowers. Although we may now begin to have some lovely sunny and very spring-like days, we are not out of the woods yet. And certainly where I live, we are still very likely to get some very cold temperatures well into March and sometimes even into April. Direct sowing is definitely totally out of the question until soil temperatures reach at least 10 degrees Celsius. For a seed to successfully germinate and grow on to be strong and healthy, it needs to be provided with the perfect conditions, including the right temperature, light or the exclusion of light depending on the variety to be grown, and adequate moisture. And once germinated, will grow much better if it receives 12 or more hours of daylight. In the past, January has been the month where I have been known to fill every single windowsill in my home with my precious plant babies. And let's be honest, it's very likely that I'll be trying to find space for seed trays in my kitchen at some point very soon. It is totally possible to grow cut flowers from seed in our homes in January by providing them with warmth from central heating, our boiler rooms, heated propagators or even heat mats. Relying solely on the light that comes in through our windows can be slightly more problematic, resulting in seedlings that are stretching and reaching for the light. I have previously found myself using mirrors or foil to try and reflect more available light to the seedlings with little benefit. They definitely value more from the light available in conservatories, greenhouses or polytunnels, or I used to, in a previous property, have a really well positioned skylight. But greenhouses and polytunnels are often too cold for germination to occur in January. So with all of this in mind, which seeds can I germinate and grow on in January? And how and why am I starting them so early? So the first seeds I'm going to be sowing are my anti-rhinum or snapdragon seeds. I do prefer to sow the majority of my snapdragons in the autumn. Then sow a second succession in January and, if I remember, a third succession in March to ensure I have them available to cut over a longer period of time. For me, the autumn sown plants are often far superior to the ones that I start in the spring. Snapdragons are slow to maturity, taking 100 days from germination to harvest. Also prefer growing on in cooler conditions, making them a perfect candidate for early sowing. My personal favourite variety is the Chantilly. I would happily only grow this type. It is very different in appearance to other varieties, in that the flowers are very open, making its pollen available to a variety of different pollinators. Whereas the classic snapdragon varieties are much loved by heavy bumblebees who can weight down and open the mouth of these flowers to retrieve their reward. Snapdragons are a great addition in the cut flower patch, providing that useful line shape that's necessary in floral arrangements. And with an excellent vase life of up to 2 weeks, they are perfect in retail bouquets. I'm going to be attempting to grow several varieties this season, and this is just in order to use up lots of old packets of seed. Because some of the seed is much older and has in fact exceeded its expiry date, I am expecting the possibility of quite low germination rates. So I'm going to be starting my favourite Chantilly variety, along with Apple Blossom, which I grew last year, and Canary Bird, which I grew in 2023. In addition, I will be growing anti-rhinum Brighton Rock and Monarch, both of these varieties having a slightly shorter stem length of 45 centimetres. I'm using peat-free multi-purpose compost. This one's by Rocket Grow, and quite often I will sieve multi-purpose composts for seed starting, but actually I started sieving this Rocket Grow and realised that there was really no need. It doesn't seem to have any large lumps within it. Sprinkle seed thinly onto damp peat-free compost and do not cover. Anti-rhinum seeds require light to germinate. Anti-rhinum seeds need a temperature of between 16 and 18 degrees Celsius to germinate. I will be placing my prepared seed trays into heated propagators positioned under grow lights. For improved growth, the recommendation is to use grow lights that offer full spectrum light. Includes a balance of red, blue and green wavelengths. This mimics natural sunlight and provides the plants with the necessary light for photosynthesis and overall growth. The next seeds I'm going to be sowing are some more sweet peas, and this will be my second succession of sweet peas, and in the same case as anything I grow more than one succession of, it's just to ensure that I have a longer period of time for which I can cut the flowers. I do not have as much space in my cut flower patch as I used to put aside for growing sweet peas, so this year I'm going to be putting plenty of sweet peas into the cottage garden, and I always love to grow some of these in pots on my patio. Some of the seed is not all that fresh, so I am expecting to have lower levels of germination. I'm going to be growing Prince of Orange, Watermelon and Fire and Ice, which are all varieties that I grew last year. I'll be growing Royal Family, which is a variety that I grew in 2023. And new for this year, and for those who follow my channel, this is not a recent purchase. I bought these at some point at the end of the summer. So I'm sticking to my no more new seed unless I've run out. But the new varieties I'll be growing for 2025 include Lady Gristle Hamilton and Elegance, and both of these are a lovely, lovely lavender colour. Sweet peas do only have a short vase life of up to about 5 days, but for me they have a scent that really is pretty hard to beat, and they are undoubtedly one of my go-to cut flowers for events. Sow a couple of seeds into individual pots or root trainers if you have them, and use moist peat-free compost. Sow seeds 2 to 3 centimetres deep. If sowing in autumn or spring, sweet peas can be germinated in an unheated greenhouse. Seeds sown in January will require a bit of extra heat to get them going, and the ideal temperature for germination is between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius. As sweet peas do not need light to germinate, I will be placing them in propagators in my house where it's slightly warmer. I don't really want to put them on a heat map or heated propagator because I think that will provide too much heat. I just need to find somewhere in my house that has got a fairly ambient temperature and will be a bit warmer for them. But as soon as they germinate, they will need to be moved somewhere with some light. And for me, I will move them into my greenhouse because again, they will happily grow on in cooler temperatures. The only thing I do need to do with lots of my overwintering plants in my greenhouse, and I expect you're the same, is if you know you're going to have a fairly frosty night, I will go and cover things over with some frost protection. I am also going to be sowing another succession of stock, and that's because stock is one of those varieties of flowers, much the same as ranunculus, that prefer to get their flowering all done and dusted before the summer temperatures get too hot. So it does prefer to grow on and flower in cooler temperatures. I only have a small number of seeds left in 2 colours. I think the majority of them now are apricot, and the other is a fairly dark purple. I think there are only about 5 of those seeds left. But I do have trays of stock that are in my greenhouse currently, and actually I'm looking to sow them out under plastic in my low tunnel at some point, and then offer them extra protection on those frosty nights. Sow stock seed thinly onto the surface of pre-watered peat-free compost. Cover very lightly as seed requires light to germinate. Germination takes around 7 to 10 days and a temperature of 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is needed for germination. As soon as the seedlings have germinated, you want to grow them on in a cool greenhouse or cold frame. And this is useful if you only want to grow doubles as cut flowers and you want to select just the doubles and take the singles out. And that's because by reducing the temperature, the leaves of the little seedlings will change colour. The doubles will have most likely turned a lighter colour and the singles will be darker. However, if you have had really cold temperatures, you will find that all of the leaves will turn light, and that doesn't mean that they're all doubles. It means that the stock have been a bit upset and got a little bit too cold. Personally, I like to grow both the singles and doubles anyway, so I never get rid of my singles because I think they're a perfect addition to a retail bouquet as well. Whatever you do, unless you've got rainbow quartet or other branching varieties of stock, do not pinch them out because they do only have one flower. So if a rabbit or a vole or something eats the top of your stock, bin it. It's not going to grow. All of your plants will have one stem that will provide one flower, and once you've cut it, that is it, one and done. They are not cut and come again. I always grow my stock under pest protection netting, as both cabbage white, butterflies and flea beetles have been a problem for me in the past. So I'll be starting my stock seed in propagators on a heat mat. I have limited heated space for starting seedlings, so that is all I intend to grow until I free up some space when hopefully the seeds that I have sown today have germinated, grown on and been relocated to the polytunnel or greenhouse. And as soon as that space becomes available, which I'm hoping will be at some point in February, we can have another get together and talk about which seeds I'm going to be sowing in the month of February. Let me know what you are sowing at the moment, and is your house already full of seed trays? I know I have a shower downstairs that's full of dry flowers. If you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to follow my growing and cut flower journey, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to contribute towards the making of these videos, you can buy me a coffee, and the link for coffee buying is in the description to the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. I mentioned in my last video that I had lost my packet of Misty Lavender Larkspur, and I was most upset about it. And I searched and searched for it and I couldn't find it anywhere. Doing something completely unrelated, a few moments ago, I found a box and there's not one packet of seeds in here. And these are all new. This is all new seed. This is all new seed. So what I'm going to do, because I'm just sort of finishing off the video that I was doing now about what I'm sowing in January, we'll do another video, and I'm not going to look. I'm guessing that my Misty Lavender's in there. Because I know these are all new and I've not sown them before, we will have another video where we'll open this box together and we will see which seeds I purchased and if I've grown them before, and I have no idea. So that will be the video that we've got coming up at some point again very soon. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.